This is Pat Soundbites Unplugged. Unplugged. The podcast where all the artists go to tell it as it is. Careers, music, tours, and more. And here's your host, the man that refuses to eat squid, Pat Calamari.
Hey, hopefully you're safe. Pat Calamari here, host of Pat Soundbites Unplugged podcast. Episode number 62 features a heavyweight in thrash metal, co-founder and bassist and songwriter, producer. He covers it all. David Ellefson, of course, Megadeth, but he also has his own solo career. Him and his partner, Tom Hazard, who's the lead vocalist, has recently put out a track called Simply Truth. And all the proceeds from Simply Truth are going to help support the coronavirus campaign out in Italy. So please download the track, pay for the track, and help that cause. David also, with him and Tom, have launched Ellefson Youth Music Foundation with an initiative called Schools Out. And they realize with all these kids being home, what's going to go on? And there's a lot of kids that are into music. So David and Tom recruited a ton of folks, a lot of friends, and they not only did a webathon, I should say, which was held on Saturday, April 11th, Oh Say Can You Stream, which features an array, all-star lineup of David and Tom's friends that helped with this cause. And it gives an opportunity to provide online lessons to students. And again, all proceeds help out the COVID-19 relief charities. And of course, we talk about a little bit about Megadeth. David, I talked to, called him up at his house in his studio in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a quick, and I mean quick, 13 minutes, as he was doing 15-minute interval interviews all that day. So I like to follow the rules and not go over the boundaries of staying on longer and affect somebody else down the line. We talk about the technology, we talk about his songwriting, of course, we talk about Megadeth, and we are supporting all his single, his foundation, and everything that he's doing. So I hope you enjoyed. I did. I hope to catch David again on the flip very soon down the line and spend more time with him. But for the meantime, hope you're following the rules. Live, love, and laugh a lot, because life is way too short. Enjoy Mr. David Ellefson of Ellefson and Megadeth. WBXO Classic Rock Redefined in conjunction with Pat Soundbites Unplugged podcast. Such an honor today to have a heavyweight in the world of thrash metal. Oh my goodness. He is a co-founder of the great band Megadeth. He's a Grammy winner, he's a songwriter, and he's the bassist, Mr. David Ellefson. How are you, David?
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks. So good to talk to you today.
Oh my goodness, David. It's an honor to have you on the phone. David and his solo band, Ellefson, releasing new single, Simple Truth, which is an incredible record and everybody needs to get, and all the donations, proceeds going to the Italian COVID-19 relief, which is very, very cool and good stuff. And I applaud you and a lot of artists that are doing things like this. What are you doing these days, Dave? I know you had the event last week that we'll talk about, and certainly the foundation, the Schools Out initiative, and tomorrow, I believe, is also a take two in case people missed it. So you got a lot on your plate. You're keeping busy, right?
Yeah, it's been a lot going on, man. I swear to goodness, I've been as busy being home now this last month as if I were on tour or in the studio working, to be honest with you. So, no, it's really good, actually. We started the Schools Out initiative. It's part of my David Ellefson Youth Music Foundation. It's a nonprofit that we formed about a year ago, and so the Schools Out initiative is designed to offer a way for students 18 and under to get free music lessons while they're out of school right now, with a lot of schools being shut down. And so that's why we started it, and myself and a lot of my other pretty well
Awesome.
So we're doing another one actually tomorrow, kind of impromptu, but it's from 6 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. So feel free to jump in. We've got everybody from Dee Snider, Twisted Sister, Randy Blythe of Lamb of God, Jeff Pilson from Foreigner, and just a whole Ray Parker Jr., who, of course, who wrote the Ghostbusters theme song, and all kinds of cool people. So it's going to be a great event, and that you can tune in to watch that. It's going to be on the Facebook.com/David Ellefson, also YouTube.com/David Ellefson, and our friends at the Grammys, the Grammy Music Education Coalition. They're going to be putting it over on their Twitch and their social media as well.
That is so cool, and I encourage everybody to go check that out and support. And David, if they go to EllefsonYouthMusicFoundation.org, is there a place where the listeners and the fans can donate? I mean, whether it's $1 or $10?
Yep, there is. Thank you for mentioning that. There, right up at as soon as you go to that link up at the upper right-hand corner, there's a donate link up there. $1 on up, whatever is on your heart or available to donate, that goes to these COVID-19 relief fund efforts, as well as to helping support our instructors who will be able to continue to teach, and so these lessons can be free for the students. And the sign-up form there is there as well. If you're 18 and under and you're a musician looking for free lessons, you can actually sign up on that link as well.
You and Tom, your partner, and I hope I get his name right, Hazart, is it right, Tom Hazart?
That's right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys had to be floored when you got almost 1,000 applications back in the first week. I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I mean, it's, it's funny, kids who are out of school, I grew up in Minnesota, so for me, it's kind of like having a snow day. It's fun at first, and then after a few of them, you start to get cabin fever, and you're like, now what am I going to do? So, our goal is to keep people creating, keep their instruments in their hands, to keep focused. Idle hands can be the devil's workshop. So, keeping students engaged in their music, engaged in their curriculum, and the discipline of being into their instruments is really important. And sometimes to be, the ability to take a lesson or two from a pretty well-known musician, or to even just have a mentoring phone call from one of us, it goes a long way to just being encouraged and keeping people enthused and excited as we get through this pandemic right now.
Boy, what a world that we live in, David, and with the technology. Do you ever get a chance to look back and reflect to go, here you from, I believe you said Minnesota. Can you imagine 30 or 40 years ago that we had YouTube, or the things that you're offering back then, or what kind of a musician you would have turned out to be?
Yeah, I know, exactly. I mean, look, I just think the immediacy of it and the reach that we have. I mean, look, if Gene Simmons or, AC/DC or one of my heroes would have offered something like this, oh my gosh, I would have just been in heaven, So I just think it's so cool. And look, because I am that kid, that's how I grew up. I grew up in a rural part of the United States, a farming community, and so for me to be a musician and I had stars in my eyes, and boy, I want to go do that, like what Kiss was doing and my heroes were doing. So, I am that kid, So when I see young musicians who are excited, and not everybody's going to be a professional. Some people just want to play for the enjoyment. Some people do want to do it a little part-time. But, music is a language, and it's like learning to speak a new language. You have to practice it. You have to be diligent with it. And it's also, you have to practice with other people, so be able to have a platform like we can do right now online, where we can communicate with each other and share music, is a beautiful thing.
Well, I applaud you and Tom and all the artists, all your friends, that all-star lineup and list the names that you mentioned. Giving back. There's no better way to give back. I'm a past volunteer fire chief, and when you volunteer, whether it's my kids' ice hockey team, my daughter's softball team, or giving back to the community, there's just such a better, internal feeling that you get when somebody smiles and you're doing it at no charge, and there's something about that really makes the human element and spirit come alive. And again, I applaud you for that. David, I know I mentioned you're a songwriter as well. How difficult is it for you to write songs that maybe you're not the lead singer on, as compared to like Tom takes over? Is it hard to interpret or translate the message of the song that you want, and then Tom takes over? Or even if you talk about Megadeth with Dave taking over, how does that work? I mean, I think that's pretty, somewhere, it could be a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, I do write a lot of lyrics. I've written a lot of stuff, obviously, with Megadeth, even my own stuff. And, usually when I come up with a lyric idea, I'll, for instance, I'll hit either Dave Mustaine and say, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think? And it can be as simple as just a title or maybe a couple of words or a few phrases. And you just kind of see if it connects with somebody, because when someone is on the microphone singing a song, first of all, it has to be believable for them to be singing it. And not only once, but forever, So it's got to be something that connects with them, something that they can communicate to the audience that connects with the audience. So there's a sort of a communication channel, number one, with a lyric. And then number two, I think with Tom, oftentimes I'll write the music for our Ellefson solo stuff. And then I let Tom, I kind of give him free license to take his best shot at it and coming up with things. And some things that I write, work well for him to write over and others don't. And I get to pretty much right away go, yeah, that's something I think that Tom's going to really dig writing over. And those are the songs that end up going the distance, So I think as a writer, I think we all have a lot of half-completed songs. So it's a lot of fun when you can have something that you can collaborate with someone else and it goes the distance. It makes it all the way to an album. It makes it all the way to the stage. It's a long process to be able to make that happen. So those are like the song Simple Truth that we put out. We knew when we were writing it, it's like, this has got a cool feel because we wrote it in the band room when we were over in Milan, Italy, rehearsing for a tour. And our band, next to me and Tom was three Italian guys, and that's why we decided to donate the money to the Italian Red Cross COVID-19 Relief Fund.
Gotcha.
It's near and dear to us, and when we wrote it, it connected with us in the room. As we recorded it, and we sat back and listened and went, "Wow, we've got something here. This is a really special track." And so that's why releasing it at this point in time, it inspired us, and a lot of the listeners are really digging it as well.
No, it's a great track. And, you mentioned something really cool. I'm not a musician, but I mentioned about technology, and if we had YouTube 40 years ago, where would you be? But, technology, I'm not a musician, and I would think that, I'm glad you mentioned that you guys were in a studio together. As that, back in the 70s or 80s when you guys, 80s when with Megadeth, I mean, I would think you would miss out on maybe, hey, do this or do that. Today, you can send files across to Italy and back and forth, but I think you miss a lot of magic if you're not in the studio together. Am I off on that, Tom, David?
Yeah, no, you're very right about it, and I think, even with my solo album, we have it written. In fact, when we finished the Megadeth tour in February, I went up to London for an evening and worked with my guitar player Andy and our engineer Alessio, and we sat in the studio and we finished off the remaining bits of some songs. And it worked very quickly because we collaborate so well and we have so much fun and we laugh and we have a good time, and everybody's such an incredible musician and so skilled at what they do. And so we finished off these songs. So now, we're laying the tracks down, and we may have to, just because of our situation now, we may have to send some files around to put our parts down. But the difference is the songs were already written together in a room. You know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
that spirit, is largely there. I mean, ideally, I always like to be in a room recording, and I'm not very good at sitting at home and recording my own stuff. I like to have an engineer there. I like to have some say, hey, why don't you try this? Why don't you do that? Or, hey, that's really good. Let's do that again on this second verse, etc. Because to me, music is collaborative, and for me, it's not enough of a litmus test for it to just rock my world. I want to know that it's rocking other people's world, and when they're in the room with you, band members, engineers, etc., you get that second opinion right away, and either they're going, yeah, that's really going, let's try something else, and I'd rather know that as I'm recording it than to record it, put it out, and then people give me that feedback, because at that point it's too late.
I hear you 100%. It's like, for me, taking a college online class, it drives me crazy because I miss that networking, the questions that other people might ask and say, hey, what about this or what about that? So I think that is really cool. Yeah, I gotta ask, also I would probably get shot out of a cannon. Megadeth, any new album? How's Dave doing with his recovery? Anything that we could look forward to down the road?
Yeah, no, Dave's doing great. He's really recovered well and getting stronger every day. So, yeah, he's doing great. We do have the new Megadeth album. It's written. Again, the same thing. It's written. And that we are not going to do over the internet. We are going to be in Nashville recording that together. And so we're...
I'm losing.
That's got this... And we'll be getting that record done. It should probably be a 2021 release at this point. So we have tour dates announced, and of course, just seeing how things go with our available, social distancing and whatnot. We'll know a little more as the weeks come with that as well.
Well, we're in new territory. It certainly has impacted the music industry so much. I can't even imagine meet and greets and how all that's gonna play out. But I encourage everyone to go check it out. It's officially out tomorrow. Simple Truth. All the money raised goes to the proceeds in the Italian COVID-19 relief. Go check out the show that we missed last week. It's a makeup test on the website. I love the way it says a makeup test. Well, say, can you see Stream Round 2 School Outs Initiative? Go check it out. It could be found on David's YouTube, Facebook, Grammy Music Education Coalition. It's all out there. You get a chance. By all means, as Dave said, even $1, make a donation. Again, congratulations. It's where is my note here? It is Ellefson Youth Music Foundation.org. David, thank you so much for the chat. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have.
Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on the air. Thanks for all your support.
Absolutely, David. Thank you. Stay safe and well, and we hope to see you on the road soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye now.